Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is?
Today is Wednesday, August the 7th, 2013, and it's
hump day.
Woo-woo!
And I wanted to bring you some of the news stories that I found interesting this morning. Now, first off, I've got to apologize for the language that may be used in this first segment because normally I want to try to keep this more of a family type thing. But I have very little tolerance for the actions of this man. If you happen to be watching me from Washington State, be on the lookout for this fucker. Not only does he mistreat animals, but he is also batshit crazy. This guy's name is Christopher Dillingham, and he comes from Skamania County. Now, Dillingham has been booked by the Skamania County Police for reckless endangerment and possession of an explosive device. However, what he has not been charged with is cruelty to animals. See, what this sick, twisted excuse for a human being has done is he felt that the dog that his ex-girlfriend had given him was possessed by the devil. But instead of doing the logical thing and taking the dog to a vet or an exorcist, he decides that he is going to tie a homemade bomb around the dog's neck and blow it up. But I guess Skamania County prosecutors couldn't charge him with the animal cruelty because according to the laws there, animal cruelty is only a case where the animal suffers. Since the bomb caused immediate death to the dog, there was no suffering involved, and therefore he gets away with a loophole in the law. So I guess if you're in Skamania County, Washington, go ahead and kill all the animals you want, just as long as you do it without them suffering. And next up for you today, I think this girl has taken the phrase, "she's the bomb," a little too seriously. I'm sure that phrase has been used for 18-year-old Kendra Gill quite a few times. She is a very attractive girl, and in fact she is a beauty queen out of Salt Lake City. But I'm guessing that there's not a whole lot to do for an 18-year-old in a predominantly Mormon society. So the beauty queen and 3 of her friends decide that they want to go out and pull some pranks. They ended up making some homemade bombs with some household chemicals, some aluminum foil, and some water bottles. They drove around over the weekend throwing these homemade bombs out of the car onto neighbors' lawns. Of course, fearing something more than just a practical joke, the neighbors got scared and called the authorities. And Little Miss Beauty Queen Gill and her 3 compatriots were promptly arrested. Now, no official charges have been made against Miss Gill, and a representative for the local beauty pageant says that it's an unfortunate event and she hopes that it will all blow over. Get it? There's a pun in there. And for your celebrity news break today, you're killing us, Smalls! Yes, one of the stars of The Sandlot is now in trouble with the authorities. Tom Geary, I hope I'm pronouncing that last name correctly. The guy who played Smalls in The Sandlot. He has been arrested for, get this, headbutting a cop. He was apparently trying to take a flight out of Houston at Bush International Airport when flight attendants thought that he was too intoxicated to fly. Too intoxicated to fly? That's almost like being too intoxicated to fish. It just doesn't happen. But I guess he was getting belligerent or something, and an airport cop had to get called in. And the cop actually gave him 2 options to pick from. He could either get arrested for public intoxication, or he could just go sleep it off in the drunk tank. But of course, when you're a celebrity, those options are way too convenient. So what do you decide to do instead? Of course, first you try to kick him in the face, and when that fails, you land a headbutt right into it. So not only is he now getting charged with being drunk in public, but he is also being charged with felony assault on a police officer. Next up for you today comes a story out of Highland, California. Now, there are various different methods of disciplining a child these days. Some still advocate spanking, while others have taken a more non-violent approach and trying to place their kids in timeout. However, Richard and April Burgo and their accomplice Brendan Rapini have taken it one step further. They placed their children in one of the ultimate timeouts. They get pulled over by sheriff deputies, and there's an obvious smell of alcohol on the breath of April, who was the driver. And then she reluctantly opens the trunk after being asked by the officer. And what do they find inside? A 6-year-old and an 8-year-old little boy. Now, fortunately, the little boys are doing just fine. They have been released to a relative. However, the trio is facing charges and could receive up to 6 years in prison for the incident. And lastly for you today, I am kind of sad to report that racism is alive and well in America today. However, this time it's probably not where you'd expect to find it. When everyone thinks racism, of course the first place you think of is the dirty South. But this story actually comes to you today out of Beaver Creek, Ohio. That's right, this Ohio neighborhood is predominantly white and they're trying to keep blacks out of their neighborhood. They're doing this by trying to block bus stops that would come through their neighborhood that are carrying black passengers. One of the methods that they're using to try to keep the buses out of their neighborhoods is that mandating that the bus stops must be provided with heat, air conditioning, and high-tech surveillance equipment. Now, of course, it didn't take long for somebody to file a complaint about this, and this has been done by the Leaders for Equality in Action in Dayton. They filed this complaint under the non-discrimination provisions of the Federal Highway Act. So it basically boils down to that this Ohio town is going to continue their attempted segregation, or they're going to lose millions of dollars in federal highway funds. And you know, given the choice, I think I would much prefer to be able to drive on a well-maintained roadway. But that's just me. So that's going to do it for the news today on Wednesday, August the 7th, 2013. This is Disgruntled Minion, and until next time, let's love one another.